because they said I was being dangerous. Not hardly. I'm not nearly distracted. I'd be more distracted if I wasn't talking. So, don't know how many people are online here. Figure there'd be a few people jump over from TikTok. Because I let it be known that they were about to remove my live. I don't know. Is there a way to text? Can you all comment? If not, I'm gonna have to restart this thing and figure out why. Guard your privacies. I don't see any commenting. Yeah, there we go. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that everybody could comment. They ended my they ended my TikTok my TikTok live, which is not the first time. They love cutting me off and shadow banning me and doing all that crap. That's one of their favorite things to do. Which I find it hilarious that everybody else can like post up hunting videos of them shooting deer in the neck and it just blood just blowing out the side, and they can have TikTok shorts and everything of that, and that's fine. But as soon as I take a raptor out and pin a rabbit down to the ground, oh, that is not okay. Can't do that. You know, they don't agree with nature, but they're completely okay with a guy grabbing his gun and going out and just blasting something. That's okay. But nothing natural. Can't do anything natural. YouTube's been a little bit more forgiving, though. They did flag me on a few things that they were misguided with. Done a live, and Marias had caught a rabbit, and my boy came down the field and he had his BB gun. Walked down the field with his backpack, and he was like, "Did you get it?" Yeah, and he was on camera and had his BB gun, and apparently that was an unsafe activity, endangering a child. I have no idea what the deal with that was. That kid's safer with a gun than most adults. But that's the thing, people don't understand the way that the people that are raised in Appalachia. So these little city clunkers see it and they're like, "Oh, this is really neat." And then they see a kid with a gun and they're like, "Oh no, can't do that." What do you mean you can't do that? If you're going to have them in the house, you need to have them. All the kids need to be trained on how to use them. But we'll jump back over to TikTok here shortly. I'm fine with doing it on YouTube, but I get more traffic over on TikTok because people have ADHD and short-term attention spans, so they just flip through. And then that's when I can catch their attention whenever I got the birds out. They're like, "Oh, that's so cool." Yep. We got red-tailed hawks. So that's what we're doing. So I'll just cover what I did earlier, what I covered earlier in the other live. We're gonna go home. I'm on my way home right now. We're going to, if I can get home before it gets dark, I'm gonna put Issei on a creance. We're gonna try him again on a creance outside. It's not super windy today, so I'm hoping I'm hoping that we can get a couple of flights out of him on the creons without the wind taking him off into the sky. Past few times we've tried it, it has been snowing. It's been really windy. It's just been a bad day to even try creons, but I did it anyway with horrible results just because it was just so nasty out. So last night we did a bunch of hops inside the building. Turned out wonderfully. I got home at like 6 something last night. I got home late. So we did hops inside the building. His response time was impeccable. I did have to feed him a few tidbits to kind of get him woke up and get his, get his drive going to know what we're doing. But I got a 1 second response out of him, which was great. As soon as I hold my glove up, boom, he was on it. That's what I want. At 9:50, I was getting about a 3 second response. With his issues and his problems, that could be confidence, and it could be part of his fear imprint that he's got. So I'm trying to just kind of beat around the bush and play around with weights right now, and I'm definitely within the pocket. We are within the pocket. We're in the range. We are fully in the range of where he needs to be. I just have to pinpoint that. With most red tails, a lot of people use ounces, and they'll go by, how they operate off ounces. I'm using grams, so, and I know exactly what I want and the response time that I need, so I'm going to hone that in down to the gram, and that's going to tell me, that'll give me everything that I need to know. When I find his sharp set weight, we're good to go. We got flight weight, we got sharp set. Then after that, it's just a matter of keeping him at that weight and then working him at that weight for a few days, and then we should be done with him. He should be finished. Then we can start on the eagle, which that'll be fun. I'm excited about that. Getting the eagle training, that's going to be different. That's going to be something that's completely out of left field for me. So, never done an eagle before, but we're going to do it. We'll just see how it goes. So what we'll probably do is go up to Owl Ridge. Once I finish up Issei's training, I'll probably hold on to him and just keep his training up until the facility that's going to take him is ready. Once they're ready, they're going to have a class. They'll do a class on how to manage his weight, just specifically for him. They'll have a class on his weight. We're going to go over, daily care, daily routine, things they need to do so they can actually use this bird in education, in an education setting where they can take him out, let kids see him and everything, get up close and personal to these birds. Ideally, I would like to get him like Rias. That would be the ultimate awesomeness, is to have him like she is. She's a soft imprint, so it's kind of one of those things of like, I'm hoping to get him there, but realistically it's not going to happen. But what I would like to see is at least get him to the point to where he's okay with being touched. He has a fear imprint of hands, so he doesn't like to be touched. He does not like people's hands. He hasn't footed me. He hasn't showed any type of like super aggression toward me. So he's just scared. He's scared of the hands. He doesn't turn aggressive. So we're working at that. Once we get him past that point of being completely chill with hands, I can really start really start touching on him and everything, and show him, hey, everything's good. Here's a treat. Thanks for letting me touch you, and let him start associating that with good things. And we might be able to kind of scrape that away. Rias had a bad fear imprint of her tail for some reason. God only knows why. But if you touched her tail, she lost it. She freaked the crap out. She would jump all over the place and whip around and start out, and throw her completely off. I got her over that. I can grab her whole tail now and pull on it and twist it and everything. She just kind of looks at me like, what are you doing? So there's no reason for me to believe that with enough patience I can do the same thing with Issei. I like a good hard challenge is what I'm after. So I'm not doing that. That's stupid. Said do a fun Q&A. How many shoes do you own? I could care less. So we got our, like I said, we got our work cut out for us with Issei. Once they get him squared away at the new facility, during that time that they're doing the training and everything, and we're trying to get them caught up on his daily care, we're going to move over. We're going to kind of slowly work into the Eagle. I'm going to try to get some jesses and anklets on him, at least get him on a glove and start feeding him from a glove so that he can, you know, we can kind of start associating, you know, you come to the glove, you know, we're going to eat. You know, we'll put him on the glove. He's not going to like it. I'll use some forceps and I'll put some meat on the glove. We'll let him start eating from the glove. We'll wet him to the glove pretty much. That way, whenever we go into the pen and we hold the glove up, he's going to come straight to the glove. Ideally, once we get him comfortable, and he's not going to come to the glove unless he's hungry. So we're going to have to target the weight. We're going to have to get his weight targeted is the biggest thing. So that's going to require starting to kind of cut his food back, starting to cut his weight down, keeping an eye on him every day, weighing him. So we're going to have to get a hold of him, put him in a smaller enclosure to be able to manage him to where he can't get out of our reach. And we can walk in there and just kind of slowly walk up to him, get a hold of the jesses, and then get him onto the glove. We can take him over to the scale, set him on the scale, and get his weight that way. Be the easiest option for us. Right now, he's about 8 pounds. He's skin and bone, so he should be. He's a big male, so he should end up being about 10 pounds. Once we get his weight back up to where it's supposed to be. He was shot in the face by somebody and lost part of his ear, and has a detached retina, so he can't see out of his left eye. So he'll definitely be fun. He'll be a fun little project. He's got nothing but bad association with people at this point, so we're gonna work to change that. And hopefully, when we put him up, when he goes to the online registry for education birds, hopefully none of the tribes need him. And all the tribes turn it down and say, no, we don't need one. And then that will leave Owl Ridge able to keep him as an education bird at their facility. Ideally, that's the best case scenario. But in any case, like, working with Owl Ridge to be able to, train these birds before they leave the facility, to be eligible for education, and that way whenever the facilities get them, the bird's trained. The bird knows what they're supposed to do. So as long as there's a decent handler that knows what they're doing there, they shouldn't have any issue working with the bird. Issei is the same way. The only problem is with him is he's got trust issues. So I've built up enough trust with him now to where he's completely comfortable around me. He still don't like me to touch him, but he's comfortable. I can do I can do about anything I need to do with him. I don't push the limits just to try to keep him in his comfort zone. I like to get him out of that a little bit, just to make him kind of finicky. That way, whenever we do get done, he's like, oh, well, nothing bad happened, but I thought it was going to. They're very smart. They're going to start piecing that together. Me and him has not had a bad rehearsal or a bad experience. So I've got a really good relationship with him right now. Everything's went perfectly, which is not something that you can really say most of the time when you're working with raptors. You know, it just depends day to day with them, if they're in the mood or if they're ready to work or what, you know, what have you. He's bit me a few times early on when I first got him. I was feeding him from the hand. That was a bad idea because he was hungry. He was wanting the food, but he's also scared of my hand. So whenever he was biting the food, he was snapping real fast, and I got a chunk of my finger took off from the side of his beak. It's like a little razor, and grabbed me in between the fingers a couple times, and just snatching food. So we moved over to the forceps, which he was fine with the forceps, but forceps are in my hand, so he was focused on my hand more than the food. So then I tried to put a glove on my other hand. That didn't work. He was the glove was triggering him, and I still haven't figured that one out yet. He's fine with a gauntlet on. He's good with it. Don't care. He's all good. However, he's not okay with a regular glove. So even covering up all my skin and everything, he's very alert. So got to work him out of that. If we can get him out of that, we're in good shape. And it doesn't look like we're going to have enough daylight by the time I get back home to put this dude out on a creance. He'll be too busy looking to go roost. But we'll deal with that when it comes to it. I can get him out. So Sunday I pulled him out and took him inside, and we just hung out. We hung out in the house and watched TV on Sunday for hours. I don't know how long he was in there, but it was at least 6-7 hours. He was inside with me, and we watched a movie and just hung out, and he was real chill. We went outside, tried the creance. I got a good response out of him, but the wind was too much. It's too windy, too cold. He kind of sold up a little bit, fluffed up, tucked a leg up, and he was done. So that sucks. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, we get his weight dialed in. It really shouldn't matter on as far as temperature. I know Ria's, if it's below 20 degrees, she will not work. She does not want to hunt. She don't want to do nothing. She wants to sit there and stay warm. So finding especially this time of year, finding a good time to take the birds out and fly them is rough. You don't want to fly in heavy wind. The bird will get took off. You'll have the thermal gust come through and push and catches them, and they pop their wings open, and bye bird. Then you got to run them down and find them. And Ria's freaks out when that happens because she can't make it back to me. She's having to fight the wind to make it back down to me, and she's got to go real low, and then she loses sight of me and she starts screaming. Issei, on the other hand, if the thermal caught him, he's gone. I'd have to go and hunt him down and wait till he got really hungry to get up close to him to get a hold of his Jess's. But he'd probably be in the top of a tree. I'm not even going to try that yellow light. Not worth it. That dude ran that red light. Wow. Okay. Getting in a rush to get home ain't worth it, dude. But we're going to jump back over to TikTok when I get back to the house. And I'll continue the live on TikTok. Might play with Zero for a minute when we get in. Since we're not, I'm not even going to try the crayons. It's getting, the sun's already down below the horizon, so we're gonna have to skip the crayons. I might rig up a light outside the Mew. I have a little motion light out there now, but I might rig a light up outside the Mew so I can do crayons flights at night if I need to. And that might be easier to work with him too if I can take away some of the light stimulation, visual stimulation that he has around him, to where he can't see the field and can't see the trees and stuff, and he can just see me in the yard. Now past the halo is just completely pitch black. If he's anything like me, he'll look straight at that light several times and be blinded by it. And later in the year, we're also looking at getting a little screech owl. That ought to be fun. We're going to hard imprint a screech owl later on in the year. I'm going to try it on. I'm going to try to catch blackbirds with it. It ain't been. I don't know if it's been done. You don't hear about it, but can it be done? I think so. People do it with pygmy owls. Pygmy owls do it naturally in the wild. They'll catch other birds. So I'm wondering, could you do it with a screech owl? I think so. I think we could do that with a screech owl. Screech owls are awesome. They're like an owl, but only smaller. I like their little horn. They look like a horned owl. Little dwarf horned owl. Not wild about their call. I would like to do a horned owl. Now that I can work with. That I could put on some rabbits or something like that, and I could do something really cool. I could spotlight at night, which you're not supposed to. Not supposed to do that. But just for some enrichment and some training and everything, I could take him out there and let him whack a couple just at the house, and that would be pretty sweet. There's not much that picks on horned owls. I mean, the things eat red tails. If they find a red tail, they'll eat it. So I have to keep it away from Rias, but I think it'd be really cool. exhausted. Tired today. Oh, there's a little areas. Let's say normally there's a little red shoulder out here. He's sitting in a different spot than where he normally is. That's about all I do when I drive anymore. Is I just look at the power lines and dead trees that we drive by. Might do a vote tonight to see what we feed Rios. YouTube is dead today. Normally there's a ton of questions. Everybody wants to ask questions. Alright, almost home. Once we get in, we'll run into the Mew. We'll get the food ready and get the food prepped, and we'll see check weights on both birds and get some feeding and some training in. That's what we're gonna do every day without fail. Got to train the birds. Keep them sharp, healthy, and stretched. A little baby squirrel just ran across the road. Golly, look at how little that thing is. We don't have very many squirrels around here. And we are home. Alright, let's jump back over on TikTok and let's fire this up and get started.